Okay, I'm just coming back from Nirvana in Louisville. It's off of Bardstown Road. Chris Cognac was the host. It was a tough crowd, but I enjoyed it because I had to bring it. I did this set that it killed at the Laughing Post. I did the same thing there, and then I'm probably gonna do the same thing in Mikey's room. Trying to like switch things up a little bit, but one thing I wanted to learn is how to relate to the audience while bringing them into my world. Do jokes that that come from my world, but bring them into my world and we can relate. Cause in the past, with like people in general and in life, there's been things where I had a hard time relating to people. Like, I'm an introvert. Sometimes it's not by nature, but like I felt like I couldn't relate to folks like my peers and other folks and things of that nature because of how I feel like how I'm wired. But I think that's, since I follow Jesus, I feel like that's the way the Lord wired me. It's something where he wired me in a unique way, because I feel like sometimes there's been folks who looked at what I was, it seemed like there was some stuff that I was supposed to know already. And they probably have that sense of I was supposed to know the stuff already and things like that. And they'll be like, I just now did the stuff, where there was like something at work or something in school or stuff like that, or in life in general. And I felt like there are things that I know, and I need to, and I don't want to do the same thing with people where I look at folks like, you should know this already. Instead, I should be the one who's like, I'll, help you out, be with you, as you learn the stuff, and then like let you do it on your own, things like that. So yeah, and it was interesting to, do the stuff at comedy where I did a few jokes and I brought folks into my world. But I was clear to, if they didn't know what I was talking about, let them know what I was talking about, stuff like that. And I felt like tonight and like a few times previously where I felt like I had that Dave Chappelle moment where Dave Chappelle, like, while he was doing his season 3, he was doing this skit. And the skit he was doing, like, I forget what they were called, pixies or something like that, like people on their little folks on their shoulder, but they were more like stereotypes. And he was doing the stereotype with the black person, pixie, whatever. And I guess somebody was laughing, at him, not with him. And I felt it seemed like it made Dave Chappelle uncomfortable. And this is allegedly, so I don't know if it's 100% accurate. But he decided to, step back. He went to Africa. But I think before or after he went to Africa, he did this stand-up thing in New York. And it was recorded, and YouTube may or may not have taken it down, but I felt like, he was becoming the Dave Chappelle we know now in 2021, because I saw the cogs and the wheels and the cogs rotating and developing, because folks were saying that Dave Chappelle was smart, very smart and things of that nature, but to articulate it to the audience of what he actually thinks, it probably would have been difficult. So to hear what he was talking about, and I know he was talking about different things. And then like in between everything, he was talking about he wanted some sushi because he could get sushi that night. And stuff like that. I can remember that, but I need to find that hopefully in its entirety, because I could, the audience was there and it may have not been funny to them, but when I was listening to it, I'm listening to him develop who he's becoming, and he, even though the audience doesn't get it yet, they're gonna get it later on. I feel like he's bringing them more into his world. He's becoming the Dave Chappelle that, level 3 or 4, where he was 1 and 2 prior, and 1, 2, 3 and prior, he's becoming the next level of himself. So yeah, and I feel like I'm getting to that level because I was doing some of the stuff where I did a few jokes and no one knew who I was talking about. I was talking about this quote-unquote relationship guru, and then I was also talking about this quote-unquote lifestyle coach, and they've been popping up like lately in the social media and things of that nature. Yet when I was talking about it on stage, folks was like, huh? And it was quiet, But at the same time I looked at it, I was like, I know that I know there's other stuff going on, but I know this should or should not be hitting in on their feed, things of that nature, like in YouTube or Facebook, it may have been, it's the audience, if I hit it in another audience, not can read the crowd, I guess they may relate to it, but in another setting they won't get it. I'm like, well, if they don't get it, oh well. But I did it anyway. It was training for me anyway. This was training for me, so I didn't care if I made them laugh. It was, for me, it was more about execution. And this was during this whole thing where folks was doing the competitions, who had the set of the night type stuff. So I was, I really don't care about the competition or having a set of the night. For me, I was more about having, more about executing what I had, and I did. So that's okay. But yeah, I felt like I had that Dave Chappelle moment where I was like, okay, now it's time for me to draw them in and talk about stuff that comes out of my spirit, comes out of my mind, and lay it down. Because there have been things that I want to discuss on stage that, hits me hard, like, relationship stuff and, racism, talk about racism a little bit more. Also some of the stuff that's been going on with Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate, those hashtags, and stuff, also talk about, things I kind of grew up in, for example, me not being a church kid or going to church when I was little, yet when I came to college I learned about Jesus, stuff like that, or how I went to Chinese church for a few years, stuff like that, and also, how I feel like I was, an outsider, not only in grade school, but in, work or in general, out in the public, things like that. Because I can make jokes with it, and maybe folks can relate to some of it yet. I'll see how it goes. But yeah, I felt like I had that moment. It was, it was cool. Like, cause I know what I can do to be, I can be goofy on stage and stuff like that, and I can get a laugh. Yet there's that one side of me like, hey, this is what I can share too. You know, for example, I did a joke about, and I included like how the banjo was made by black people. Yeah, the banjo was made by black people. Now, and I, you know, and in the past, I wouldn't have known that, because I would have associated the banjo with country and bluegrass music, or like country and bluegrass and like things in like the, you know, in that part of the South that I don't, you know, touch. Then I found that out. I was like, really? This is weird to me. So yeah, I wanted to bring that about, and I did, you know. But you know, folks may not want to hear that. But I make a joke out of it to make people laugh with it, and I did.